I just looked at the transcript from the comment from the question Michael asked on Monday about FBT. It was strictly related to FBT, not the ute tax issue. So is it the case that there actually is confusion on whether you support that policy and a decision was made this week? And if so, what does that say about the preparedness of your economic team, Jane Newman? Will they keep their jobs after the election?
I think the other day the Prime Minister responded, I think, to Latika and said, I don't accept the premise of the question. And then you were happy for him just to move on. But of course, I won't do. And you just accepted it and you let him move on. But I won't do that to you, Paul. I won't do that. There's been no policy change, no discussion about that policy this week. It's been long-standing since we took the decision. I answered the question in relation to the ute tax, and I've been very clear in relation to our position on the ute tax. In relation to the FBT issue, our policy has not changed since it was since we first announced our position. In relation to the ute tax issue, which I think Australians are only starting to hear, I think it's worth restating because I don't support Anthony Albanese's $14,000 tax whack on tradies and Australians who want to go and buy a Ford Ranger or a Toyota Hilux.
Why then, if your comments about not touching the arrangements were misunderstood by us on the day, why did your team, for example, not clear it up and say, no, we actually do support reversing the EV policy?
Well, I just don't accept the premise of your question. Next one.
I don't know what you mean. I actually don't know what you mean by that.
Well, I don't know what you mean by your question. I think I've stated it clearly, Paul. So I think we're better off just to accept that we have a difference of opinion. There's been no change to the policy.
The question was very clear. I read the transcript just now.
And I've read my response, and the response was very clear. No change to our policy, and we're not going to support the ute tax. And I've read the transcript myself as well. So, hence the reason. Well, but my response was in relation to the ute tax. Sometimes you ask the question. We don't always respond exactly how you would want us to, which you see sometimes in question time as well when we ask a question of the government. We do our best to answer faithfully according to word by word the question you've asked. But in relation to this issue, the whole conspiracy about whether there's been a change of policy this week, it's just wrong. And Labor might be pushing that out. Our position hasn't changed since we made the announcement. And importantly, in relation to the ute and car tax, we're going to abolish it. So if you vote for Anthony Albanese, your Ford Ranger is going up by $14,000. If you vote for us, it's not going to go up by $14,000. We'll cut it. And as a bonus to you as well, and I'll just make this point, we're going to cut your fuel by 25 cents a litre. And that will be a big win for somebody who's driving a Ford Ranger. I don't know whether you drive a Ford Ranger, but probably an 80-litre tank, you could save lots. And that would make you more inclined to support us at the election, I'm sure. Yes.
Mr Dutton, there's 3,800 Commonwealth public servants living and working in Hobart. There's about 500 more than in 2022. How many of those jobs would you like to see go to reach your 41,000 target?
None. We've been clear about that.
You have a policy of reducing the public service by 41,000
in Canberra, we're not reducing the public service.
So only in Canberra?
We've been very clear about that from day one. Yep.
Are you still banking the cost in on that, Mr Dutton?
Yes, we are.
At the same number as you...
Well, we'll provide that. We've done work with the PBL in relation to it.
So back office staff living and working in Hobart?
The answer is none. Yep. I know, I've heard Labor's scare campaign, and you've had Murray Watt out there, the chief attack dog, who's now just become a parody and an embarrassment, and I think he's now been put back into hibernation. So no. Yes,
that's a huge amount of it.
We've been very clear about it. Yes. So just make this point. Some of those positions, of course, haven't even been filled yet, as well. So they're projected numbers, and they're projected numbers. They're not even positions yet. Some of which have been filled.